In this video, I'm going to be doing a review. If you want to see some sample pictures or videos taken with this camera phone, or a gaming demo, or heck, even a comparison to my Nexus 4, which some people have requested, or even comparing the Galaxy S4 to the Sony Xperia ZL, which is a direct competitor, you can find those videos in separate videos. I don't want to put it here because it'll make this video almost an hour long. So you can find links to those videos, like the Sony Xperia ZL comparison, for example, in the description below. Just expand the description, you'll find a whole bunch of different links. The device itself has dimensions of 136.6 by 69.8 by 7.9 millimeters, and it's weighing in a very light 130 grams. As for the screen itself, it's a 5-inch Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen with 16 million colors with a resolution of 1080 by 1920, which basically means 1080p HD. It has an approximate PPI of 441. Interior based, you have 2 gigs of RAM. As for the processor itself, is packing a very powerful Snapdragon 600 1.9 GHz quad-core Crate 300 processor. As for the GPU, it's an Adreno 320. The rear camera at the back is 13 megapixels with 1080p recording at 30 frames per second, whereas the front-facing camera is 2 megapixels but also has 1080p recording at 30 frames per second. As for the battery itself, is 2600 milliamps, removable. Yes, you can actually remove the battery and the back cover. Lithium-ion battery. In terms of connectivity, you have the usual GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It supports 802.11 ABGN and also the new frequency, which is AC. You have LTE, of course, DLNA playback. So if you have a DLNA TV supporting or maybe a media player, you can actually stream video content to your TV or media player device. It also has a micro USB port for charging and connecting to the computer, obviously, but it also supports MHL. So if you have an MHL wire, you can, change it to an HDMI, and you can basically plug this into an HDMI port on your TV if you want. And of course, the last connectivity that's really important is NFC. There's a 16 gig, 32, and 64 gigabyte internal memory version. This is a 16 gig version. Unfortunately, for some strange reason, only 10 gigs is available for apps out of the 16. As for the operating system, it comes with Android 4.2.2, and of course you'll notice that the UI is very different from stock Android, and that's because it's running the TouchWiz overlay, which is Samsung's custom version of Android basically. Just examining the device itself, you notice you have one hardware button. Well, technically you have 3. There's a menu button here and a back button. You'll see it light up when I turn the screen on, but the main button here is the home button. Screen itself, you got a whole bunch of sensors and front-facing cameras. At the bottom, you have the micro USB port, which I was talking about, a microphone. On the left, you have volume rocker. On the top, you have a 3.5 millimeter jack, basically for headphones and stuff. A secondary microphone. On the right, you have the power button. You have this little flap to take the back off if you want. On the back, you have the rear camera with flash, speaker grill, obviously. So there's an LED notification light. It's not the greatest. It's pretty faint, actually. A little disappointing. They could have made it brighter, but there is one available. As for the lock screen itself, it is generally customizable. You can add app shortcuts down here. You can add multiple widgets. You can, have a custom wallpaper here, and when you unlock it, you'll have a separate one for your home screen, like a regular, live wallpaper. So you can customize a lock screen pretty decently. Let me just say that this is an extremely sharp screen. People have always complained that Samsung screens on their devices aren't always the greatest. This one is phenomenal. It's one of those things you have to see in person, mainly because even though you're watching this video in 1080p, and this is a 1080p screen on the phone, the issue is that YouTube will degrade the quality a little bit, so it's one of those things that you can't really appreciate it until you see it in person. Sharpness and colors are very vibrant, great. So screen clarity is fantastic. Even when you're watching a 1080p video, the screen is phenomenal. It's a 5-inch screen, so you're getting a pretty large size in a compact body. What you'll notice is that the body itself, the bezel is really, really thin around the sides. Samsung has done a great job of keeping the Samsung Galaxy S3 body size, but increasing the screen. In terms of general comfortness, the phone itself is okay to hold. It is plastic, not a big deal, because the most fragile part of the phone is always the screen. So anyone who complains that the body is plastic, they don't know what they're talking about, because the screen is always the most fragile. But my thing is that the edges aren't as curved as it could have been around the edges here. It is okay to hold, but not the most comfortable I've ever held in terms of a phone. Alright, I'm gonna do my volume test. The speaker's on maximum volume. It's just a regular YouTube clip with me talking in it, nothing too loud. So here we go. And there's a special dedicated reset button, which you have to press with like a pen or a pencil. It's not a power button, but what happens is if your phone stops working for whatever reason, it freezes. Okay, I'm probably like 30 or 35 feet away. I can still hear everything. Let's see if you guys can hear it. Alright, so I was talking about developing a ROM. I don't know if you guys heard that. With my own ears, I can hear everything. The camera mic will not pick it up as clearly, but the speaker on this phone is fantastic. So let's move along. The stock keyboard is just your regular keyboard here, you know, I got symbols and stuff like that. But also comes with the swipe feature, for those of you familiar with swipe. So this is the Samsung keyboard. Well, it typed it as one word because I'm in a browser. It thinks I'm going to go to a URL, but you get the idea. If I was using the texting app, it would automatically create the spaces, but you can see that I typed it just fine. Okay, so I'm not a fan of benchmark tests. To me, they mean absolutely nothing. I like practical usage or playing very, very high intensive graphic games to know just how powerful a phone or tablet is. But some people just really want, you know, numbers. So here it is. This is a quadrant benchmark score. And see, I got 12,611. And if you compare it to last year's HTC One X, which is a very powerful device from last year, mind you, it just completely blew it out of the water. Alright, and finally for an Antutu benchmark score, I got 25,279. For those of you that doesn't know, you know what that means? It just means it's really, really fast. Let's just put it that way, okay? In terms of gaming, I have played some high intensive graphic games on this device, and I can confirm that this thing is really blazingly fast. Again, I'm not going to do gaming demos on this video. It's in a separate video. You can find a link to those in the description below. I played some very high intensive graphic games, like Need for Speed Most Wanted, etc. This thing just handles it smooth, really smooth. So it's a great gaming device. Okay, so at this point I'm going to show you some exclusive Samsung features like multi-window. There are third-party apps in the Play Store that do this now, but Samsung was the one to really like push this type of idea, make it really like mainstream. So as you can see, I have the regular stock browser and I have Google Chrome. If you know you want to see something else, let's open up Google Maps. Put that at the top. So now I have I have the stock browser at the bottom and Google Maps at the top. So you can have multiple apps running at the same time. Of course, the easiest way to get Google Now is to simply hold and press the home button, which gives you the task manager. Pressing this will clear out everything. And of course, the middle is Google Now. But I don't want to get into that, so let's just keep moving things along. There are plenty of exclusive Samsung apps. Half of them are pretty useless. They are bloatware and junk like Keys Air and S Health. Google has them already, but better. So like S Translate, for example, it's just a translating app, but I find Google's Translate app much better. So you have a lot of Samsung apps. I'm not going to go into all of them. Oh, here's S Translate. Because it would just make this video way too long. You have S Memo, you can write notes out with your finger or type it or whatever. You have S Voice, which is basically the Samsung command. What is the weather today?
You'll hear some thunder today.
Okay, so picked up my city, my location. It responds pretty nicely. It does a pretty good job of voice commands. There is a feature. I noticed that it only works when the phone is flat on like a level surface, like a table. If you do something like this, just put your hand right above the device, it'll show your notifications, your time and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. You have to activate these functions. I'm not going to show you how to do that because it'll make this video way too long, but I'm just showing you that these kind of things are available. Don't mind the pictures. This is my friend's phone. If you see some models and stuff. So basically, if you just simply hover over, I'm not touching the screen. My fingers is simply hovering over the device. It gives you like mini previews. So it's a neat feature. Not really necessary, but you can do this in a whole bunch of stuff. If you do it in the browser, it'll zoom in on text and make it bigger. Okay, so one thing I want to demonstrate for you guys is Smart Pause, which basically pauses a video when you look away from the screen. A lot of people say that they have problems where it doesn't work at all. The truth is it only works with certain apps like YouTube or the built-in video player app. You can't even go to your gallery and play a video from there. You must use it through the Samsung video player app. So let me show you how it works. So I'm looking at the screen. You notice my video is resuming. It's paused again. I should put the volume up for you guys. ZL. Before I get into the review, I just want to clarify one thing. This is not. I look away, it paused. Look again. Not the same as the experience. It works. Said. Look away. My main issue with the smart pause feature is that sometimes if there's a video, like if you're watching a movie on your phone and there's a character, someone hidden over here, even though I'm looking in the corner of the screen, sometimes the front-facing camera will think I'm looking away from the phone and pause the video. So as good as smart pause is as a feature, it's not perfected yet. Okay, so again, I'm going to give you camera samples in a different video, but I'm just going to go over some of the key functions. I'm not going to go through every little detail here, like the settings. This is like changing your resolution and stuff like that. That's pretty generic stuff. It's actually the Samsung selection here. You can, I'm not going to read these out for you. You can just pause the video and read the text for yourself because I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. There's just too many details. But by far, there's some features that are kind of useless here, making an animated photo. Or for example, you take a picture and you add sound in the background. I mean, why not just record a 9-second video instead of taking a 9-second audio recording with a picture? I guess it's artistic, but I personally would just rather record a 9-second video. Alright, so a couple more things I want to mention about the camera. If you simply hold the shutter button, it's just going to take multiple pictures for whatever extensive time you press it for. Pressing this button here will start recording. If you tap at the bottom, there's an arrow. Depending on how you hold this phone, obviously, you get a whole bunch of different color effects. This button here, this middle one, actually allows you to dual record or dual take a picture. So I could take a picture right now of myself and whatever's in front of me. Or if I dual record, for example, right now I'm recording I'm dual recording. I can move my spot around like wherever I want. Let's switch over, take that out, put it back in. It's pretty neat. So right now I've become the main focus of my video. As you can see, the rear camera has become the small focus, and the front facing camera, which is me, is become the main focus. I can switch back again, and there I am. But in terms of general quality, picture quality is okay. It's a camera phone. Don't expect greatness. It's not that great. It's okay. Video recording is good though. It's good for a camera phone. Call quality. Okay, so this is a phone. Let's not forget. Call quality on this device is pretty good. It's what you expect from a very high-end, expensive device like this. Alright, so one really cool feature I want to show to you guys is basically the wave effect. You can use this in the browser to change tabs. You can use it in the gallery to change your pictures, your viewing. So for example, I want to switch the picture. I'm not going to touch the screen. I'm just going to go like that. Just going to wave my hand right in front of it. Unfortunately, you can't do it from like say even a foot away. I'm probably right now 8 inches away. You have to go pretty close. Now what I'm going to do at this point is show you the chunk of the Samsung apps. You'll notice that the menu, this is the main phone settings. I do not like it at all. I don't know what Samsung was thinking. I find this to be a big giant mess. What Samsung should have done is kept a very generic single menu that Android has, and then have a separate tab for exclusive Samsung features. So the thing about Samsung exclusive features, you'll notice that some of them you can just simply checkmark, right? Some of them have these kind of a lock that turns on and off. So it's off, now it's on. These ones with special locks, you can actually tap it on the writing and you get a sub menu. The sub menu is where you can really control certain aspects and elements of the device. So say AirView, for example, it's on, but what if I want to control more features? I just simply tap on the text and then you get a sub-menu which gives you a lot more control. It has a pretty large battery considering how slim the body is. Samsung has done a fantastic job of keeping the body slim with a large battery. In about a day and a half, so that's what, 36 hours roughly? Yeah, 36 hours is a day and a half. I can get about an hour and a half of screen on and over an hour of talk time. So you're talking about an hour and 15 minutes talk time, and it lasts a day and a half. That's pretty good for Android standards, let's put it that way. So the battery life is pretty decent. So I have to give this device a score. I would give it a 4 out of a 5, and here's why. The pros of the device has a very, very sharp screen. Even viewing angles, no matter which side you're looking at it from, are really darn good. The built-in hardware, like the camera, the processor, the RAM, the screen, everything is phenomenal for today's standards. It's top-notch. Video recording for a camera phone is really good, especially compared to some of the competition out there. The system settings, there are a ton of them built inside. You don't have to download a special ROM. The system settings are very customizable. There are plenty of Samsung exclusive features. It can be the apps that are available, or it can even be the gesture features, which I showed you guys before. There are plenty available to you. The speaker itself, I did a speaker test, is really loud. The battery life, even though the phone itself is very thin, battery life on this thing is phenomenal. Samsung packed a huge battery in here and it's awesome. The camera app that comes with the phone it has a ton of options. You may never want to download a third-party camera app from Google Play because this thing has a lot of them, including another perk, which is, in my opinion, dual record. You can take dual photo or dual record with the front-facing and rear camera, which I demonstrated for you guys. However, there are some cons with this device. The biggest con to me is the messy interface. This thing is, like the system settings, which I'm showing you right now, is a huge cluttered mess. Samsung could have done a better job of organizing it. Even though I mentioned that some of the Samsung features are a pro, some of them are actually a con. There are just so many useless apps in here and so much extra junk that comes installed in the phone that they're actually in some ways a bad thing. And of course, some Samsung features like Smart Pause, as just one example, doesn't work properly. As I mentioned, sometimes looking at the edge of the screen, the phone will think I'm looking away and then pause a video, which can be really frustrating sometimes. So overall, Samsung's going in the right direction by making their phone and, features unique, but they do need to fix some things here and there. Overall, a very solid device. If you found this video useful, check out my website in the description below. Hit the like button, it does help, subscribe, and thanks for watching.